Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a truly extraordinary car in its own way. This is a Honda Civic 1.8 ES I-Shift. This car's 57 plate car, but where it's a bit special is it's covered just 16,200 miles. It's been serviced, again from memory, 14 times, just gone through a new MOT, flew through of course, and it is in absolutely beautiful condition. It's not new, it's far from it. It's 15 years old now, but it is, for its age, even regardless of the mileage, it is in beautiful condition. Front of the car, lights and lenses, clear and intact. Bonnet, hardly see a stone chip anywhere on there at all. Near side of the car, absolutely no indentations at all. And it's such, I mean, for a 15-year-old car to look as modern as this car does, Hondas do age brilliantly well. Near side front alloy, absolutely no marks in there at all. Panel work beautifully clean. Near side rear alloy, again really clean, just the lightest bit of curbing at the bottom there, which could be at the top by the time it comes around again. And around the car, again, very, very clean. Around to the off side of the car, driver's side, again beautifully smooth. The only mark I can see on this car, and we're not going to do anything because it's got to have something, a couple of little touch-ins done on the rear wing there, or the rear bumper corner. Because it's plastic, it can't rust obviously, so sorry, the wind's picking up, so I hope you can hear me okay. Offside rear alloy, again, fantastic condition. The remaining panels, absolutely beautiful. Likewise, final wheel, offside front, pretty much unmarked. That is, yeah, it's a bit of a one-off. Coming to the back of the car now, you get enormous boots on these cars, and fabric looks as though it's hardly ever been touched, pushed, put on, or anything sort of laid on it. It's in beautiful condition. Let's come into the back of the car. Civics are generally quite heavily used as family cars, but the interior of the car, again like the outside, has been kept absolutely superbly. Coming in the front and the passenger side, again all very, very clean and tidy. Passenger seats hardly been given much use at all, which of course it hasn't with such low mileage. Finally, come to the driver's door card, again absolutely beautifully clean, same as the footwell areas, obviously full sets of original Honda mats. The driver's seat itself shows virtually no wear at all. So inside the car now, engine's running as is always the case, as the dashboard can be seen illuminated, and what an interior it is, and again in absolutely lovely condition. The only tiniest signs of sort of wear and tear, but has been kept very, very nicely. And then to come and show you, what I think is still one of the best dash designs ever. It's absolutely superb. Just going to pan in there for you. Hopefully you can see 16,200 miles. The only light currently showing is for the low fuel, but it is, yeah, it's a very special car. We rarely buy cars of this age to sell these days, because most of them have been to the moon and back, but I had to buy this one. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and for a remarkable car in every way. This is a Honda Civic. It's a 1.8 ES I-Shift. The car is registered RK57YDE. It's the mileage really, 16,191 miles. I mean, absolutely amazing. The reason, by the way, that we do all of our videos is very simple. It's to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they actually get to see the car advertised actually in operation. The reason we feel it's important is because, like so many people, we've been to see cars which look perfectly good in photographs, but when you go and drive them, there's an obvious issue that shows up, so hence that's why we do it. This video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, only because I haven't driven one of these I-Shifts in a long time, and on previous videos I've done with them, I always explain the best way to use the gearboxes. So I will do the main stuff first, but essentially it drives absolutely like new. It's in just incredible car. Engine starts instantly and settles to smooth, even idle. It sounds and feels like new in every way. It's a brilliant engine. They're sweet-natured, they're docile, they're tractable, they're incredibly reliable and long-lasting, and very, very economical. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, and temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle, by the way. So in essence, absolutely perfect. Gearbox, all functioning absolutely perfectly, but I'll come back to that a little bit later. Steering on the car, the chassis and the steering are just amazing on these cars. I love this generation of Civic because the steering is so quick, so go-kart like. As soon as you turn the wheel, the car's going with it, but it all moves as one motion instantly. It's just such a engaging car to drive, but also one that's eminently, it's very comfortable. It rides really well. Only the sharpest ridges tend to catch them out, but when you go through corners, it corners flat. It's just a thoroughly pleasant car to drive, but one that, you know, if someone is enthusiastic and likes their driving, it's a family car that, you know, gives you that in spades. It's just, it delivers. It handles brilliantly. Brilliant front end on the car, likes to turn in, you know, so for the enthusiast it's a really enjoyable chassis. Incidentally, there's no nasty knocking noises, rattles from underneath the car. Steering track's absolutely bullet straight, and there's no vibrations at all at this speed, or any speed up to the legal limit actually. I'm going to give the brakes a good old shove, make sure no one's directly behind. Give them a good thump. But excellent, absolutely perfect. They bite really well. There's no kind of pulsing or vibration coming back through them at all, so absolutely spot on there. Inside the vehicle, obviously with the mileage it's done, you'd expect it to be good, and it is. It's in fantastic condition, beautifully made. There's no squeaks or rattles in here, and then just got this amazing dashboard. I mean, I love it. I know it polarizes opinion, which is what I think the best designs do. But I like the fact that actually, as a, you know, from a driving point of view, it's there as an aid, not just as a gimmick to look good. You know, it's obviously got the two-tier design, so you've got upper and lower section on the dashboard design there. Upper section gives you information display, but the most bold and clearly displayed is your speed, so I can look at the cars ahead, keep my eyes on my speed without taking my eyes off the road for a second. It's genius. Down below that we've got this stunning kind of hologram effect, kind of floating dial with a huge rev counter with an information display in the middle of it, and this kind of blue halo going around it, flanked by the temperature and fuel gauges. It looks great by day, it looks sensational at night. It just, the whole thing is, it's one of the rare few cars you can get into and actually it makes you feel a little bit special, and it really, really does. And it's all working perfectly. Air conditioning is ice cold in the car. Cruise control all functioning perfectly, everything as you'd expect in a Honda, working exactly as it should. I can't fault the car. I cannot fault it in any way. It drives beautifully. So for those who don't want to listen to any more, you might as well switch off, because as I said, that's the video done in effect. But coming to the I-Shift gearbox, now basically this is a manual car. It sounds daft, but it is, because the gearbox underneath the engine bay is the same as in the manual car. It's a 6-speed manual gearbox, but basically it does the clutch for you, and that's it. So the advantages are very simple. With a normal automatic, you'd get, probably in a car like this, a 5-speed gearbox on its age, but then, you know, the equivalent car with a 5-speed automatic would probably give about 30-35 to the gallon. These give 43 very easily because you've got the extra gear. Also, in terms of kind of repair costs, you know, you've got a clutch and a gearbox. You haven't got torque converters, you haven't got some heavy stuff going on underneath there, which can be very costly to repair. Not that you really do on the Hondas, but that's by the by. So it's simpler in that sense, but the way it works is brilliant. Now, for those who haven't driven one before, it is still changing gear. So often you'll hear people, when they talk about I-shifts, you can feel the car sort of doing that. It's meant to, because it's the same as you. It's like going from first to second gear. Now, the hardest gear change for anyone driving a car, let alone the car doing it itself, is from this one here, first to second. So you put your foot down, first, second, and you can feel it dip slightly, but it's meant to, because it's doing exactly what you do yourself. And then the third, you can just about feel it. It gets slightly smoother as they get in the higher gears, as it would do with your normal gearbox. That's exactly as it's meant to be. A little tip for driving them: basically, as it's going to change gear, as you would do in a manual gearbox, you lift the throttle very slightly just to help it. It becomes second nature. It sounds complicated. It isn't. It literally is the easiest thing to do. And that's in what's called auto mode, as I am in now. So I'm just driving this as an automatic car. It can't stall. It goes up and down the gears. It does it all itself. Now then, if I want to use the manual mode, I just push the gear lever to the left. It's now selected me second gear because it's matched the speed I was going at. You've got a choice. You can use the gear lever here, push it forward to go up, so third, fourth, or I can use the paddles, going down the gearbox on this side or up the gearbox on this side. So I'm now in fifth gear using the paddle, and sixth gear. And then likewise, changing down like that. And also you change down with that one there as well. So my personal preference, however, is to use this. There's something about the fact that your hand naturally falls to it. It feels really nice as well. It's got a lovely springing action to it. It feels really weighty and nice and satisfying to use. Also, when you use the paddles, especially at low speed, if you're turning, quite often you'll find the up one is kind of around here somewhere, so you can think, oh, what am I doing? But that's only at lower speeds, tighter turns. But generally I use this. The beauty of it is also you cannot stall the car. You cannot be in the wrong gear in effect when you're coming down the gears. You can't over rev it, because it won't change up if it's or down. If it's going to strain the engine, it'll work it out for you. I'm currently in sixth gear, and it's quite easy to sometimes forget you might be in manual mode and come to a stop, and it'll change down the gears for me because it knows I've forgotten to do it. Basically, it's as simple as that. So at the next junction, I'll show that exactly how that operates. When I had an I-Shift, and I've had numerous of them and loved them, by the way, I tended to use the car in two very distinct ways. When we were based in Bristol, I used to basically drive in manual mode all the way until probably about 2 or 3 miles from where we worked, when the traffic became incredibly heavy, and then I'd put it into automatic. The reason being is, I just didn't want to be changing gear, basically, as simple as that. And it's brilliant in that sense. So I encourage people to use the manual mode because you can gain better fuel economy that way as well. Anyway, coming back to show you can't stall it. I'm in sixth gear currently, and I've got to turn right just around the corner here. So I'm going to hit the brakes. I'm not going to change down. I'm down into fifth, fourth, third, second. So it's actually done all those gear changes for me because I forgot to. So I'm going to come to a complete stop now. It's selected me first gear. I'm going to pull away, and if I'd forgotten, I'd think, oh, why is it not changing up? It won't change up for you. Oh, you've got to do it yourself. So that's how it works. It's absolutely brilliant, really is. Again, my final tip for the gearbox is if you're using the manual mode on the gear change, when you come to a stop, either just hit the brakes and let it change down itself. What you don't do, because it's not good for any car, and you certainly wouldn't do it in a manual car either. If I was coming to a stop now, for sake of argument, I'm going to change down third, second, but I don't change into first. Let the car do itself, come to a complete stop, first gear, and it does it. Because if you try and, sometimes you're going quicker than you actually think you are, and changing into first can be quite aggressive on the vehicle and mechanics of the car as well. But a brilliant gearbox that again was completely misunderstood by lots of people. Also, I have to say, I used to work at the Honda main dealer, and I know that there were salesmen there that who customers had previously had normal inverted commas automatics. They would say, oh, the new Civic Auto's out, this is a new car for you. So it was quite a shock to them when they found out there was this difference, because it is, as I said, a clutchless manual gearbox, and it was laziness. it basically, you know, I think it should have been explained better to people by certain sort of individuals, but as a driver's car, as a gearbox, how it works, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And as I said at the start of the video, cannot fault it in any way. Apologise for this rather lengthy one, but it does need explanation on these, I think rightly so.